Welcome to Total Impact Sports. This is the fourth and goal. I'm Andrew, and I'm here with Zach, Lawson, and Brandon. Cody will be with us shortly to talk about all the NFL stuff that's been happening the past week or two. But I mean, first off, we have to touch on the Jets firing Joe Douglas, their GM. I mean, what's next? Is Aaron Rodgers going to fire their owner? Like, yeah, and also the Giants benching Daniel Jones. I'm not really surprised about that. What do you guys think about those two situations in particular? Zach, you can start.
Uh, the Jets are a dumpster fire. So
Yeah,
at this point, if something can go wrong or a decision can be made that is going to be bad, they're going to do it. So at this, I don't know who's running the ship at this point. Aaron Rodgers is saying stuff. It's a mess. And Aaron Rodgers was supposed to come in and transform the Jets, and they're in worse position than they've been in a while. And as far as the Giants, that's just a very very clear case of people of the Giants wanting fans to still come to games. So
yeah,
because didn't they skip their second string and went right to third because they knew
Yes,
DeVito would
they
give
went to
people more.
DeVito. Yeah,
Yep, they knew that why. We know the season's done, but please give us your money. That's what that is. That's all that is. So chicken cutlets in the parking lot again, I guess.
yeah. The funny thing is, I feel like their schedule, like they could win a few games with Tommy Cutlets again, like exactly like last year. Um, but yeah, Brandon, what do you think about I guess both situations?
so first I'm going to talk about New York, the Giants first. I think them going over Lock, going to DeVito is, like Zach said, like a publicity move to get tickets at this point because DeVito is not that much better than Jones. I felt like if they wanted to win some games, they would went with Lock instead because he gives them the best chance to win. But I like the DeVito move is just like for the make sure the season ticket holders are happy. They like DeVito. Let's give them a shot. Meanwhile, for the Jets, I saw it coming. It does. It is crazy. They did fire Douglas, even though he's had a terrible track record. He brought a lot of talent in that team, like Sauce Gardner, Brees Hall, all the draft picks he's had, and it's been not successful because the Jets have been so disorganized a head coach and quarterback for so long. And I saw something today. I saw something earlier where they were like new regime and stuff, new general manager, new head coach might want a new quarterback instead of Aaron Rodgers. So it might be like Rodgers last year anyway. We don't know
It
till
should be.
end of the
Yeah,
season.
yeah. Wilson.
To piggyback off of what he said, like Joe Douglas is not the problem. He brought in Garrett Wilson. He brought in Sauce, Brees Hall. When you look at the track record, like he's brought in talent, Braylon Allen, Jermaine Johnson, Michael
Yeah.
Carter. Like these aren't bum. These aren't just bummy players. They're really high end talented guys. Now, obviously, the outcome hasn't been what anybody, if you're a Jets fan, or even if you have the least amount of optimism for the Jets, you bring in a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback of Aaron Rodgers. You're like, okay, you have a semi-talented roster. The offensive line's bad, but other than that, you had a good defense. You bring in Aaron Rodgers. You bring in weapons. Now, I think that
Yeah, his
for
guy.
as yeah, weapons like you make the splash play for Devontae Adams, and that hasn't worked out. You fired Robert Saleh, but he was the best coach on the staff. The defense has fell off a cliff since he left. So I don't know. There's not many more. Aaron, it's what more are you gonna do? Because
Yeah,
clearly, when Robert Saleh was going to take play calling away from his buddy, there was a 5 minute window in which Aaron Rodgers and Woody Johnson got on the phone, and 5 minutes later, Robert Saleh, you must be escorted out of the building. And apparently, they didn't discuss Robert Saleh at all. My ass. You
yeah.
cannot tell
No.
me that. You can't tell me that's a coincidence. You flatly can't. Now for the Giants, I'm not surprised. They are they have some, if you want to call them pieces. Like I think Brian Daboll's a good coach. Andrew Thomas, fantastic left tackle. They have two good young up and coming receivers. Their defensive line, when healthy, is excellent. They have a really good defensive line. Their back end, leaves things to be desired, but overall, they're not a horrible roster when you look at it from your key spots. Like obviously they need a quarterback, but when you look at his blind side, Andrew Thomas, like I said, fantastic, two good weapons, good D line. So like they're not as far away as what I think the media portrays them to be.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I agree with Lawson and our friend Jordan. The bad man's gone. I'm actually like, what's going to be interesting is like, who are the teams that are going to pursue these guys? Like when they're cut, like what team is going to give Daniel Jones another shot? Because a team will.
Dallas.
Like I feel
Dallas.
like a team will, because he's just young. He's young enough. He'll get one more chance somewhere else. But also, Aaron Rodgers, like I know he said he's gonna play next year, but I don't know if you watch him like this past week, like literally he just throws short. He just doesn't want to get hit. Like he can't take a hit anymore.
He's old.
Um,
He's
yeah.
old, man.
You don't like
I don't care how much time
I'm
you
sorry,
spend
go
by
on.
yourself in the dark. You're old, but plus one of the greatest things, and I love that you brought up Devontae Adams. That the Steelers beat Devontae Adams in back-to-back weeks. We proved to him. Hey, listen, come to us. Then next week, hey, we beat you again. Hey, come. Dude didn't want to come to Pittsburgh. Could have been winning with Pickens.
Yeah. I have a long form take on this. Like, I think some teams like that need QB this offseason, they might do what the Vikings and Steelers did and sign a QB in free agency, like what, or trade that works too, and get like a Fields or a Darnold, and then just draft a QB in the top 10 or top 5 or whatever. I mean, the Falcons did that as well. It's just like they haven't had to play Pickens or Penix yet. I mean, if the Falcons keep losing, we could see that him potentially play more. If Cousins, it just isn't his old self. But yeah, I wanted to recap Week 11. This is another big topic, but what has gone on with kicking in the NFL lately? Like I know I can
I don't
attest to
know.
this.
We're good at it.
Oh yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying,
You
we
guys
can
are.
do it. Apparently, the field at Acrisure is really bad for Tucker, but we can do it. So I everyone just go to Boswell's house over the weekend and learn what to do. That's what I'm saying. I'm really cocky about Boswell right now.
Yeah. Well, I will add to that. I dug into a little bit. There has been like some of why Tucker has missed a few. I'm not saying like for all of his missed kicks. Their punter, I think Jordan Stoutland, like his holds have not been the same compared to their veteran Sam Koch. Because he was a mainstay for like a decade till he retired a few years ago, and they drafted a punter from Penn State, and I don't know, it's kind of just gone to shit with that. But Brandon, you can speak on this. I mean, what's happened to Jake Elliott?
Oh gosh, it's just it's like Tucker left. Every kick has been left. It seems like it's been the operation hasn't been right, or Jake's been like rushing his kicks a little bit. To me, I mean, I trust Elliott down the road because he's not been prone to this bad at kicking until now. So, and it's still the same unit as last year, and he was great last year. So I think I think Philly can get it fixed with Jake.
Yeah, it's tough.
It just seems crazy.
Yeah, it's tough because like him, like Youngway too, like Dustin Hopkins on the Browns, like they like just paid these guys, and then they're just not performing. Like they're not like no name where you could just kick them, cut them from the team and bring in somebody. You kind of just have to roll with it. But yeah, that happened to the Bears against Green Bay. I mean, I don't know if like I thought Chicago looked better. Caleb looked better on offense after they fired Shane Waldron, but man, the Packers just own that franchise, kind of like the Steelers for the Ravens. But yeah, I guess Brandon, what'd you see from the Texans Dallas game? I mean, we kind of all knew that this was going to happen, so it's not really a shock to anyone. But yeah,
Yeah. The Dallas game last night was one of those games. It was like crazy before kick. It would be Texans by at least 10-15. Also thought that the situation with CeeDee Lamb actually had a decent game. The 4th and 9 punt fake, another Dallas mistake, and it showed, leading to Mixon's first touchdown. Or not, actually, that led to Stroud's pick, then Rush's pick, and then the touchdown. But still, it is Dallas right now. Is just, I think they're just trying to get a better draft pick. That's just where I'm at with Dallas this year. I'm not thinking they're going to do anything the rest of the way.
yeah. Do you guys think they should play Trey Lance, or is that just an even worse situation?
Oh my God, it makes
They
no
need
sense as to why they would not play Trey Lance.
Yeah, they need to play
It makes
him.
no sense. Now the big thing for me, like former number 3 overall pick, awesome. However, for a backup quarterback, number 1, he's expensive. Number 2, like the only thing to me that is that Trey Lance is done. And by done, I mean you're going to be a career backup because there's one unit of people you can't fool. You can fool the media, you can fool the fans, you cannot fool the players. And why was
Yeah.
San Fran willing to we'll just throw him to Dallas? I guess the kid can't play. That's my only thing because it makes no sense. You traded for him. What's going to happen if you play Cooper Rush? I don't know. Maybe you win 1-2 more games, but that doesn't help you in the long run. Like you need players like your wide receiver depth is bad. Your offensive line is aging. You have the worst running back room in the NFL. Like they have high tier players, and that's it. They're a CeeDee Lamb sprained ankle away from having the worst wide receiver room in the NFL. Like you saw what happened.
Hey. Steelers
What?
are the worst receiver room in the NFL. Let's not take
No, I'm
that
gonna
away
need to fall
from us.
back on that. No, I'm gonna need to fall back. Nah. We can be a lot worse. We need to fall back. It amazes me as to how like Dallas is always going to be in the limelight because America's team.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't make any sense.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah,
At least Lance can move.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like McCarthy's going to get canned, and this whole regime's going to blow up like the Jets Giants at the end of the year. I mean, like, I guess the one thing is, like, they see Trey Lance play in practice. I don't know if he's getting first team or he has to be getting second team reps, but, like, yeah, I don't know, like, how, like, I don't know why it's not. Like, even if he's, like, really bad, like, I'm sure he can kind of do what Malik Willis did with the Packers. But I guess you need a good coordinator for that, and they just don't have that.
No.
But, yeah, we have to get into the meat of the show, which is, I guess, Zach, you can talk about this. I'll talk about
I get to lead this. Okay. This was I was so proud of both teams, legitimately, because it looked like there was an effort to bring the fire back to this rivalry that a lot of people during the week were saying, oh, it's not the rivalry it used to be. There was chippiness. And the refs let them play a little bit. I was actually not bad. I watched it with my mom, and she turned to me and actually said, hey, the game isn't being officiated that badly. And I actually agreed. So I'm so proud of the Steelers because coming in, I was nervous. I wasn't scared of the Ravens, and it didn't look like the Steelers were either. It looked like they came in knowing what we could do against this team, and we played that's our second really good game against a really, really good team. So I don't care how far people move the goalpost now. And I said it on the other podcast I'm on yesterday. This win moves the Steelers officially into contender status for me. That did it. I consider the Steelers contenders in the NFL, not just the AFC, in the NFL. Not taking it saying the Ravens aren't, but the Steelers definitely need to be considered.
Yeah, Lawson, what was your take on this game?
My take of it was kind of what I expected. I expected the Steelers defense to force a couple turnovers. Guess what happened? Patrick Queen is in on damn near every single play, forcing clutch fumbles. The play of the game to me, and I was so happy he fell to us. That Peyton Willis and not Willis, Wilson interception.
Yeah.
That play,
Wow.
I was watching from right here. I jumped up. I was hype as hell. It's one of those things to where we don't like them. They damn sure don't like us. But at the end of the game, we can meet at midfield, and we can shake hands and say, you know what, you played a hell of a game. And to me, the fact that another it's a big thing in the grand scheme of the game. I love that Justin Fields got in and we saw his legs because it's just another weapon just on the sideline. Another thing, when Mike Tomlin called the timeout on the 2-point play, because how many times have we seen Lamar get immediately to the edge, and because it looked like in even the broadcasting team said, oh, it looked like Lamar was just finna take snap, roll right, jump pass if the lane's not open to immediately shoot. And I don't know if there was miscommunication on the second 2-point play, because it looked like Isaiah Likely and whoever the receiver was, it looked like they weren't in the right spot and someone got bumped down. Because what happened? Lamar snap, instantly rolled left. And there was just no one to throw it to, so he just tried to, huck it to whoever fell.
Yeah.
But I will say one thing, though. I was so hot when Justin Fields slid 1 yard early. When he slid 1 yard early, I'm like, no way, dog.
And then did the first down motion after. I'm like, oh, no.
I'm like, and 100%, it's because I was talking after the game with my boys. They're like, do you really think you could, do this again? Like, you're going to need help in the postseason? Well, regardless, we're going to have to play Kansas City or Buffalo regardless. And maybe the defense can, do what they did today, force a couple turnovers. I'm surprised. The one thing that I will say that I was really surprised about, Mike Williams caught the game-winning touchdown the week before. 9 snaps. He had 9 snaps the whole game?
I watched those. Those were his route running was uninspired, to say the least. So it might have been something about that. He was in a lot early, and then not a lot after. I think, and Mike Tomlin at this point, he won't stand for that. Zach Kazani won't stand for that. You run your routes sloppily, you're gonna sit for a little bit until you learn to run your routes better. So I agree with you. He was invisible.
Yeah. Like, whether just having the presence on the field, because what do we know? He's a big body receiver who's a down the field threat. He's not going to blow by you in speed, but it's just the fact that he's a 6'4", 6'5" weapon to just have on the field. You went and got him to play him opposite of George Pickens. So why do I see Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin on the outside opposite George Pickens more? Maybe it's a matchup thing. Maybe because Marlon Humphrey was going to shadow George Pickens and Nate Wiggins is a burner. We know that. So maybe it was just a scheme thing to me. But I was impressed. I thought, other than the one interception that Wilson threw, because when I saw him, whenever in my mind, every play it's got a 4.5, 5 second, timer going down. So it's like, okay, Russ holding the ball, and then he rolls right, and then he steps up, and I'm like, just throw it out the back of the end zone. If you're holding the ball too long, nothing's open. Start out of the back of the end zone. But he gave a 6'7" tight end, a chance, and he maybe if he jumped, maybe he at least gets hands on the ball. But he just kind of stood there, and I can't remember if he even put his arms up to try and fake as if he was going for it. But the defense still did what the defense does, and the Steelers win in a signature Steelers win.
Yeah. I mean, I've said this before on podcasts. Yeah, I don't think John Harbaugh is a good coach. I don't care. Oh, when they win, he doesn't get credit. I mean, which is, I guess, true. But I've just seen plenty of times where the players themselves bail out John over the ladder. I mean, I guess in the fourth quarter, Henry didn't play at all. I mean, that was surprising. They did only have 2 drives, and but to get back to the Steelers, I actually liked how the Ravens' run defense was its strength and their secondary was the weakness, but the Steelers, they still decided to run the ball, establish the run early. And that actually helped out. I felt like later in the game, when they needed to ice them out with those first downs, because Russell Wilson wasn't bad. I felt like in this game, he did a lot of game manager type things, to try to win the game. He didn't force it too much.
Held the ball. Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, I mean, Pickens still got there, but I think it was a good idea because actually the Ravens defense did play its best game in this game. I felt like throughout the whole team, even against the Raiders and the Browns and whatever, they did play up to this game. So it's just disheartening that Todd Monken and Lamar again, they can't get over this damn hump of the Steelers. I don't know. It's just going to be a trend till it's not, till proven otherwise.
There's no reason at all why you guys coming into the game have the league's leading rusher, and you use him 13 times.
Yep.
That to me, that's horrible coaching. That right there is coaching malpractice because I genuinely believe you use attrition and you use King Henry the way we use Najee, it would have worn us down a little bit more. But instead, you guys let Lamar do Lamar. So I was so confused by that. I thought Henry was hurt, but no, you just didn't use him 13 times. So that was the difference in the game. And I don't. My mom asked why. I'm like, Raven's gonna Raven. What?
It's
oh no.
It kind of reminded me as to. Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, I mean, this is just anytime they're gonna play the Chiefs again or the Steelers again in the playoffs, even in their rematch in a few weeks, I'm just gonna be expecting the same thing because for whatever reason, they just go back to what wasn't working last year with Lamar bailing out of the pocket too much and then trying to do too much and for whatever reason the Ravens pass catches, they just have the drops in Pittsburgh every time. I don't know why.
Don't throw to Deontay Johnson. We learned that, so now you got to learn it. Don't throw to Deontay Johnson.
Man, I know Zay Flowers caught the touchdown at the end, but that drop was as bad as Bateman's drop in the Sun 2 weeks ago. But yeah, we can talk about that later. But moving past that back to Thursday night from last week with the Eagles dominating the Commanders. I found that interesting that Jaden hasn't really been the runner he was ever since the rib injury, and I think that's definitely hampered them. But at the same time, I mean, it's the Cliff Kingsbury offense again, kind of dwindling down midway point, and we'll see beyond throughout the season. Teams are kind of figuring them out. Brandon, what would you think about the Eagles and how they played last Thursday.
So for me, the first half again, their slow start. Defense. The Eagles' defense has been the best defense in the league ever since the
Yeah.
bye. Getting Cooper DeJean in there, they've been the best unit in football defensively wise. So I'm glad to see that. Quinton Bay keep on doing his thing. Quinion, I just love the fact that Saquon Barkley's on this Eagles team, and
Oh yeah.
that was the difference when we finally got him going late in the fourth, and then especially after that 4th and 2 that Washington went for, when they could have kicked the field goal up 13-12. That was the killer, because the day after that, Eagles got the run game going and got Saquon a couple touchdowns, and that was the game at that point. Now, of course, Zach Ertz performing in Lincoln Financial Field at the end kind of was like, no, don't do this to me, Zach. The touchdown and that 2-point catch was crazy. A lot of people right now on Eagles Twitter are like, Jalen is a concern, but I think Jalen will be fine. I mean, that the thing was the passing defense, and I'll give the Commanders' defense credit for this. Sandstrell was really good at the converts against Smith and AJ. Once they get Lattimore, will be even more complete on that secondary. We will see in a couple weeks' time when the Eagles go back down to Washington if it'd be a different game. But the thing for me is Jalen Hurts has been that streaky passer for years, and I think as the offense is getting more clicking, if they run the ball better, that's what happened in the first 3 quarters was they couldn't get the run game going, and they don't have the run game going. The passing game is off this year, and I think if they can get the run game going in Saquon, I think that the one-on-one deep balls and the over the middle passes will connect more. So I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I wish the Ravens kind of did this with their running back, but like even if it's not working in the first half, like you gotta still keep trying, because even if they know like what's coming, like I'm sure the Commanders did, and Saquon went nuclear like with the 2 long
Yeah,
touchdowns.
it wore
And
down.
throw the
It wore Washington down.
yeah
That's the thing. A good run game will wear any defense down. Time of possession is big, and I think that's the thing. I think the Eagles realized that after the bye, they need to use Saquon more, and they finally clicked that. And Thursday night was the evidence of a close game for 3 quarters, and then the
yeah
4th quarter, once Saquon gets going, it can turn just like that with in the way this defense is playing too. I think the Eagles and the Lions NFC Championship is probably a
Oh yeah.
sexy pick right now.
oh yeah
It's you guys. I'm more afraid of the Eagles than I am of the Chiefs now. At the beginning of the season it was switched, but now I think you guys are the tougher test out of those two.
Well, that's the thing.
Genuinely concerned about how we were going to play.
That's the thing. That for me, going into the season, I was like, if this Eagles defense can click on the Eagles offense, we'll do well. Now I'm like, I need this Eagles offense to start keeping up with this defense a little bit more, because this defense, these young players are finally playing like up to their potential. Quignon's been playing great all year. DeJean, ever since he's been in
yeah
the line, has been playing great. I just needed this D line to start playing like the D line had the potential, and it's been doing that. Zach Bond, all pro linebacker this year. I hope they recognize Zach Bond a lot, because he's been the best player on that defense. Him and Quinion and Jalen Carter have been the 3, and then Reed Blankenship. Those are the 4 most consistent players on this Eagles defense right now. And this Gene too, but for the whole season, for me, I think those 4 I mentioned have been the most consistent. And then Gardner Johnson's finally playing well this last few weeks, so I just need him to keep going. But like I was saying, like this, yeah, the Eagles defense have been like that's the thing. They've been keeping them in the games when they started slow, and you can't start slow against Detroit. You can't. They
yeah
capitalize on the start. So that's the question, is if the offense can continue to the gel and get going in the first 2 quarters.
Yeah, the Eagles are a top NFC contender for sure. Before we move on, we could talk about the Josh Allen, the Bills finally taking down the Voodoo Magic Chiefs. I was actually kind of surprised about this outcome, just because like Mahomes as a dog is usually like he has like a plus record as a dog. So I mean to see the Bills overcoming that in a big way too. I think throughout the game, like, even with a few injuries to like Kincaid and so on, like that was a really good test for them. Now, will they do that in the playoffs? I mean, we'll see. But yeah, Lawson, what did you think about that game?
Whew, I thought that game was out of all the betting articles I put out last week, that was the only one that didn't hit, and I took the Chiefs plus points and straight up to win. But other than that, I
Yeah,
thought I was extremely impressed. I was impressed as to Buffalo's D line is for real. This is by far the best roster that Josh Allen has had since he's been with the Bills. You look when they went and got Amari Cooper, I'm like, okay, they're pushing their chips in. They're like, the Chiefs, they're winning, but they're not as impressive. And then you look, and for whatever reason, I don't know if it's I feel like the Chiefs, they're playing a different sport as opposed to they're just trying stuff out and then they're just pulling it out late, preparing for, playoffs and when games matter and things like that. What are the, in quotations,
yeah,
good plays to run? You looked in this game. What happens if we need Xavier Worthy to be the number one guy? And they're getting him involved early and often. And then when you look at I thought that I think that in order for the Bills to beat the Chiefs in any game, whether it be regular season, postseason, the difference was Josh Allen's legs. Like
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Patrick Mahomes is crazy mobile. He can get outside of the pocket, throw off any platform, but he's not the same power runner that Josh Allen is. Like one of the most scariest things in the NFL is when nothing's open for Josh and he just says, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go." There's almost nothing you can do to stop it. And you look at the 4th and 2 play.
Yeah.
4th and 2, you get a stop.
yeah,
You're gonna march right down that field, and you're gonna walk them off with another heartbreaking field goal. With the kicker, you just brought off the street. And what does he do? Play breaks down, nothing's open. Bam, slams head on the goalpost, 26-yard touchdown, dagger. Essentially, it amazed. I was so, and we saw Josh play. It wasn't a perfect game, but he got his legs involved early, often, and late. His only mistake was him and Dawson Knox was on the 4th down play. He thought Dawson was going to keep going, and he stopped. And so he threw the ball where he expected Dawson to be, and not where he was, and that's what led to the pick. Other than that, I thought they played a fantastic game. Now, big question: should the Chiefs be worried? Are the Chiefs, did they prove that they were frauds or anything like that? It's like, no, they have Patty Mahomes. They got Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Steve Spagnuolo still calling defense. Yeah, they're going to be just fine. They're going to be fine. There was nothing to me that shocked me other than the outcome of the game. Like, I still think that the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. Like, when you look, the Chiefs were dominating time of possession early throughout the whole year. What happened in this game? They lost the time of possession by 10 minutes. They were one of, if not the best third down converting teams in the NFL. And you look in this game, they're 50%, which is still good, but it's below their average.
yeah. Yeah, I feel bad for the Panthers. They're gonna get a walloping this weekend by the Chiefs. Upset by that loss. But yeah, the next topic for Week 11. I guess Brandon, you can speak to this. I mean, how have the Jags not fired Doug Peterson yet? Because I just feel like that team
I thought
is
that was
like
going to
the
be the news
Jets.
today.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was going to be the news today, not Douglas personally. For me, I'm just shocked that Doug Peterson is still there, but I think it's more so Lawrence's issue for me. I think Lawrence's issue. Obviously, Doug Peterson is a bad play caller right now, and Press Taylor. I don't know why his obsession with Press Taylor is still a thing. That's why he lost the Eagles' job, because he wanted to keep Press Taylor on as offensive coordinator, and it's showing. Good offensive coordinator. I think those two as the offense and then the quarterback play of Lawrence has been another. It's been like a Daniel Jones kind of thing. I feel like it's better than Daniel Jones at times, but he hasn't been showing it consistent enough to earn that contract that he got earlier this offseason.
Yeah. The Jags also, I mean, they've dealt with a lot of injuries. They're probably going to get the top pick this year. They're not going to take a quarterback because they just paid Lawrence, but they're kind of in a bind in terms of like coaching and who wants to join. I mean, I heard that potentially, Bill Belichick could go there because of the amount of power he could get from Shad Khan, since he kind of they did a similar thing with Urban Meyer. I mean, that didn't play out well at all, but the other thing was speaking on like the Jets, like the Colts, starting Anthony Richardson, and he actually did look better. He looked pretty good. So as like a potential AFC wildcard team, I mean, are the Colts legit, or are they just going to be like, are they just going to fall just short? What do you think, Zach?
Well, you always count the Colts to fall just short, but I don't. I feel like the grumpy old man sitting on the front porch when I say this, but it really, really upsets me that Anthony Richardson is back in the lineup already. You say what you did. You give up on your team like you did. You say you're tired, that you needed to be taken out of a game. To me, that really gets at me. Like I was really surprised that the Colts just turned around and was like, oh wait, all you needed was a timeout in the corner. You're rewarding bad behavior, and I appreciate that he played well in this game, but Anthony Richardson has a maturity issue, and that's not going to help that maturity issue. That's going to enable him and let him know that next time he's tired, if he's willing to give up 2 games, he can say he's tired. So you've just established a precedent, and it's hard for me to look past that. So right now, there's issues with the Colts that are going to bubble to the surface probably sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with. I think Jim Irsay, like the owner, he probably got involved. I think all they care about is winning games this year. I don't know if they're thinking about developing him for the future. The win helps, but like, yeah, I don't know if like, I feel like you should have been all in with him or not. Like, it's 2 games and like for benching for 2 games, it's not really like, it's like a slap on the wrist. Like, it's not really. I don't know how bought in that team is. But yeah, Lawson, for the Sunday night football game, the Bengals, they try everything on offense, and they just choke again on defense.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter. And like, you see reporters after the game asking Jamar, hey Jamar, what's the issue? Is it play calling? Is it, with the missed kicks, what are you gonna say to him? And he's like, go ask Zach. And we pay Evan McPherson to make those big kicks, and he just didn't. And sometimes it's just that. It's you played a hell of a game, kid, and you lost, and there's nothing wrong with it. The only thing that makes me laugh about all this, Jamar Chase's probably going to win the Triple Crown, and they chose not to pay him. Why that is, no idea. My thing of this is the Joe Burrow. For years, it was if Justin Herbert had this, if Justin Herbert had that. Now it's if Joe Burrow's defense could just bail him out. If Joe Burrow this, if Joe Burrow that. So on Sunday, we saw 2 of the best best young and still up and coming quarterbacks in the NFL play, and they both played exceptional. They both were fantastic. I mean, when you look at Joe Burrow's numbers, yeah, his completion percentage wasn't up to par, but he was still 28 of 50 for 356, 3 touchdowns, no picks. And then when you look at just Herbert, 17 for 36, 297, 2 TDs, no picks, and still utilized his legs. My thing of the matter is, for the Bengals, I'm like, I mean, this was essentially, we thought last week was a savior season type of game. This damn sure was, and you lost it. So it's like when they drafted Jamar Chase, I was pro, just take Penei Sewell and you'll love me later. Take him now. I know Jamar is shiny, and he proved me to be wrong every step of the way. However, the thing is, he who controls the line controls the game, controls the tempo, controls time, ball. There are 3 things you need in a football game to make a comeback. And the Bengals, they were down early by a lot, and they needed it. It's time and the ball. My bad. There's 2 things: time and the ball. And when you run into a run-heavy team like the Chargers can be, they just weren't sustaining drives in the second half. That was my only thing. There was the second that the Bengals missed the first field goal, I'm like, oh, they'll mess around and lose this game. It doesn't matter what the Chargers do or don't do on offense. They will find a way to lose this game. And guess what happened? They got the ball back, with a chance to take the lead, and they missed the field goal. And then when J.K. Dobbins busted the touchdown run, the football IQ play was, just go out of bounds. But, he was on the herd yesterday and was like, I talked to my running back coach, and he said, man, F it, just go score. And so he went and scored, but, it's they come away with the win, and the Chargers are, to me, the Chargers and the Broncos, they're in the same bracket. No one wants to play Sean Payton or John, or was it Jim?
One of the hard
John, yeah. No, it's Jim because khaki pants. Yeah. No one wants to play Jim or Sean Payton in the playoffs for me. Like, there's just, when you look at the AFC, like, I got the playoffs right here. It's Chiefs, Bills, Steelers, Texans. Then it's Chargers, Ravens, Denver. All 3 non-division winners. Those are going to be hellacious teams that no one's going to want to see. So to go back to the original point of the Chargers Bengals game, the Bengals season is essentially over, and the Chargers are just playing for seeding and playing for all they have to do now is be 2 games better than the Chiefs the rest of the way, and maybe they can steal the division.
Yeah. I mean, Zach, how good is the Chargers? I mean, they have I know their defense got kind of ravaged by the Bengals, but of how they can run the ball. Justin Herbert playing his best ball. I mean, they could be an interesting wildcard team for sure in the AFC.
Yes, the only thing is I don't know if you can count on them to be consistent. They could have a really, really, really good game in the playoffs, or they could be blown out. I could see either one happening, and that kind of inconsistency I don't trust just yet. The Chargers, to me, that they have done more this season than usual to make me trust them as a team. I've always trusted Justin Herbert, just never trusted people around him. So they're getting closer, but I still have a hard time saying that they're legitimately frightening only because of the consistency issue.
Yeah, they do have to, if they win big in another spot, like in prime time again, then well, actually they have the perfect chance because the Jim and John are playing each other Monday night.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what's happening. But what's up, Cody? How's it going?
Well,
hey guys, sorry I'm late. I had a broken refrigerator and was just with the repairman. This was the only time he could get at me. So appreciate you letting me hop on.
Yeah, it's no
Absolutely.
problem. You can finish off this topic with the Seahawks Niners game. I mean, I guess it's not the same Niners, but I mean, normally they own the Seahawks. Um, Based on their first performance. What did you think about Gino coming back and making that game-winning drive?
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly entertaining. I mean, if you're a Niners fan, obviously you hate it, but I kind of loved it. I had Kenneth Walker kind of going in that game for some fantasy aspects of it, but I just love to see Geno Smith get back to an old football coach of mine had this saying that I just absolutely loved, and he said, "You got to dance with who brung you," right? And so Gino, what brung him there was his legs, right? Originally, he was known for being mobile. He was known for getting after it. And what did he do to win that game, man? He just had that nail in the coffin right at the end, ripped off that run to win the game. And he danced with who brought him there, his legs. So Gino getting back to basics, getting back to what brought him along the way. It was a fitting end to a good division rivalry game. And, if you didn't have any skin in the game as a fan or a bettor, it was really entertaining.
Yeah, that was kind of like a slow grind in the middle of it, but at the ending was exciting. I guess. I mean, what do you think about the NFC West with the Cardinals the game up, but you got the Niners, the Seahawks, the Rams who won pretty big against the Patriots. I guess I guess all you guys can respond to this, but I mean, who do you think's gonna win this division?
Oh man,
Hmm.
I'm on the Cardinals, man. I think it's going to be real. I think that defense plays incredibly hard for their head coach, and they are coming, and they are sitting atop that division here, and coming off a bye week, and it's going to be a grind. I think that NFC West is going to be one of the most entertaining divisions in football to end the season. And it's anybody's game right now, but man, you got to love what Kyler's doing over there. Marvin Harrison Jr. is coming on. Connor, he's running like an absolute beast. Trey McBride, I mean, he's getting up flexing after every catch. He's feeling it, and they're clicking right along. So as long as they don't take a major injury hit to Kyler or even James Conner running the football, that's kind of like the foundation of that offense. Man, you got to like where the Cardinals are going, and they already have wins over the Rams, over the Niners too. So they kind of got a leg up.
Yeah, Zach, what do you think?
Well, ever since the 49ers just imploded the dreams of the Steelers in week one after our beautiful preseason and Kenny Pickett's second year, I've hated the 49ers. That just put a bitter taste in my mouth. And I've literally, ever since that point, I have wished for their demise. So this is a glorious, glorious season for me. But I really agree that the Cardinals are one of those teams that I don't think anyone would want to play in the playoffs. I don't think anybody would want to take these guys on. Now, the only thing is I want to see how they would play in really, really bad weather. That's the only issue I have with them. But other than that, I think I agree. You can trust these Cardinals. James Conner, big James Conner fan. How can you not love that guy when he runs?
Yeah,
So fun to
Brandon,
watch.
what do you think?
It's going to come down to the Rams or the Cardinals. I agree with Cody and Zach. The Cardinals got the leg up right now. The devil's advocate argument is the Rams for me with Stafford looking the way he did against New England. Now, granted, that's New England. He'll face a tougher test, like I said, with Philly this weekend. But for me, I think if they can get the passing game with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, keep that going, I think they can give Arizona a run for their money in the division. I think the Niners will end up third, and I think the Seahawks will probably be a close fourth. I don't think any team in the West is going to go below 7 or 8 wins this year. I think it's going to be a tight race. I think the division winner will have 10 wins.
Yeah, Lawson.
The only bad thing about this division is that there's only going to be there's probably only going to be one playoff team. That's going to be the division winner. Because when you look at your wild card teams, Vikings, and then you have the Packers. Those are 2 of the 3 right there. This division is so because going into the season we all thought, oh well, it's the Niners division until
It's not.
the wall falls. Until the wall falls, yeah. The thing for me is like I thought that like they were dominating Seattle, and then Nick Bosa's hip messes up, and then like you look in the first play of that drive where Nick Bosa got hurt. Nick Bosa 7-yard sack goes off the field. What happens? 5-26 on 3rd and 12. Like, and then they start moving the ball, and then you see the Niners defense. Now, the thing that messed them up the most, this is to me, hindsight being what it is, they traded 3 years worth of first-round picks for Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that they would have turned those 3 into, all-pro guys. However, it's a depth thing. So when you're dealing with injuries, they're not high-tier bodies, to continue to throw out there. It's a talent thing. They have a lot of high-end talent, but other than that, like, their right tackle sucks. It would have been great to pick one up in the draft if you would have had a first-round pick, and for whatever reason, their special teams continues to lose them games. Kyle must just say, I don't give a damn what happens about the special teams, because he has he has both hands 10 fingers deep in the offense, but for whatever, like, and we're talking about the Niners so bad, and I understand that they have Green Bay and then Buffalo, but they're still only 1 game back. And they still have, there's still a lot of the season to go. I'm not ready to wash my hands clean of the Niners yet, but I will say I could easily see all 4 teams winning the division. There's not one that none of them have pulled away due to the division is so tight. Like, Arizona's leading, and they're 6-4.
So it begs the question: have we seen the best of the 49ers? Like, have we seen their ceiling?
Ooh.
And I'm talking the cumulative resume of the past several years. I think we kind of have, right? Like, you still wait for them to kind of like have this explosion on offense with all this talent, and their defense. I mean, name brands, every position, name brand defense. And you just keep waiting for massive plays to be made on defense. And it's like, they just don't. And so you're kind of left wondering, kind of grasping at straws, and you start losing at home to the Cardinals and the Seahawks, and you start getting that fan base riled up a little bit. Man, I don't know, man. I think the Niners kind of might have seen the best.
Yeah.
And going on to your point, though, Lawson, if they lose to Green Bay this weekend and Buffalo next weekend, you might as well cook. They're cooking the division. They're like 5-7. Even though you still got games against
division.
I think they played the Rams twice, if I'm correct. No, they played Seattle twice. So they already played Seattle twice. So they still got one more game against the Rams, and they got one more game against the Cardinals. I just don't think right now they can stop the Rams offense. I definitely don't think they can stop the Cardinals offense.
Yeah. Go ahead, Zach. You got
really quick. Actually, I'll come back. Train of thought's gone. You win.
So
no idea what I was gonna say. It'll come back.
To speak on Cody's statement is or question: have we seen the best of the Niners? From a talent perspective, yes, because you looked last year, they were excellent. They were dominating the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and then what happens? Key injury: Drake Greenlaw goes out. And then they were already without Hufanga in the Super Bowl due to him popping his, ACL against Tampa in week, 12, 13, somewhere on there. But it's like we've probably seen the best of the accumulative talent due to Brandon Ayuk tears his knee up this year. Then you have your injury concerns with, Trent Williams isn't getting any younger. Nick Bosa's now got a hip. There's just for whatever reason, there's a stigma for whatever reason. There's something I don't know if it's in the water. I don't know if it's in the locker room. I don't know if it's in the Gatorade that they sip in practice. If it's on the benches they sit on when the other unit's on the field. I don't know what it is, because I love, Shanahan's there. Purdy's still good. Kittle missing last week, another older player. That it would have had great to have depth there, but, it's one of those things where Kittle does so much in the run game just as much as he does the pass game. He's, to me, someone of Kittle's stature they're a once in a generation tight end. He's so impactful in both. He reminds me a lot of Gronk. He's just not as big, and he's a very physical. Like he blocks like a tackle and catches like a receiver,
Mhm.
and that's what they ask tight
Yeah.
ends to do. And so I thought that he, like, despite all that, I think if Nick Bosa stays, they still somehow pull it out and win the game, because I was not impressed from what I saw from Seattle in the first half. I just wasn't, and I'm not a Geno.
Seattle's not really an impressive team.
No, they're
especially
not.
this year, but like if you're getting beat by unimpressive teams, and
Yeah, it's
if you
ugly.
think about too, like Nick Bosa, I mean, absolute physical specimen. I mean, dude is a dime piece defensive end. That's what that's what you want him to look like. That's what you want his physical attributes, his measurables to be, his speed, his quickness, and everything. But he's a little bit of a teddy bear. He's such a nice guy, and he's like, his teammates love him and everything, but he kind of always it's always a little hip, a little knee, a little tweak, a little something, and he doesn't quite have that grit, right, of like a JJ Watt or his little brother TJ, or
He doesn't have enough.
that guy. It's like a Maserati with a flat tire sometimes. It's just like, man, you got to get him going. Where's the grit? Where's the toughness?
To go on your point, he reminds me a lot, and he's more thicker than Micah Parsons, but I feel like Micah's the same way. He doesn't have enough bricks in his pocket to really, stand on the run game. Because I think Nick Bosa, he's a fantastic pass rusher. His get off is excellent, but in the running game, I feel like him and not to throw any shots at Micah, but I feel like they're two of the same, to where they leave some stuff to be desired in those physical points that you brought up.
As far as you said, there's something in the water. I think you're absolutely right, because I remember my point. Do not discount the fact that even if they don't say it, players in that locker room feel their window closing. You
Yeah,
can feel that in the locker room when oh no. And there's a sense of desperation, or maybe over focusing on one thing. That's what's in the water right now in San Francisco. They can feel they're at the tail end of that, especially the fact that even, Brandon Ayuk will be back. He'll be back after an ACL, and not everyone comes back fine from an ACL. Now,
Yeah,
Andrew's back, speaking of which, welcome back. Disappeared for a second. But yeah, that they feel that. So there's bad energy in that locker room right now. And because they don't know how to deal with that.
like you see Debo choking out holders. Like, dude, for someone who's making the money you're making, keep your hands to your damn self, because you're making all this. You got your extension.
Yep.
You're a fantastic gadget guy. You don't run good routes. You can't run the route tree. You don't have breakaway blazing speed. When I saw that video in Tampa, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're not the one to go and say, hey, dog, lock it in. If it was a more of a veteran leadership, now maybe he felt that way due to he's been there for a long time, but whether if it was, Trent Williams, or, your locker room leader, like a Fred Warner type, like, hey, come on, guys, let's, we got this. But when I saw Debo doing that, I'm like, Debo, you need to settle down. And I saw reports the other day of like, oh, Debo could potentially be an offseason move. And I'm like, well, what team really could use a gadget guy? Number one team that I thought of, I'm like, I could see maybe Indianapolis making a move for him. They have a young quarterback, and what do we know about young quarterbacks? They need weapons to to where they can afford to have a bad throw, and you throw to somebody whose catch radius is not saying that
But-
Debo has an unlimited catch radius, but
The one
I'm here.
exception to that rule about surrounding a young quarterback with weapons this year. It's
Don't say Caleb.
Williams. It's Caleb. Baby.
It's
It's
not,
Caleb. So Andrew, I mean, like, did you guys already talk about that Bears game? They almost pulled off that upset.
Well, I want to wait for you, but yeah, to end things off, you can touch on that.
Yeah, we circle back.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to see Caleb, at least kind of put together a little bit of a game. I mean, it was a simple game plan, a lot of first read throws, did some work with his legs. But, man, you still got a bunch of Maseratis in that garage in Chicago, too. I mean, you got your boy DJ Moore. I mean, he hasn't shown up this year, really, and you got Keenan Allen and Roma Dunze and all this. But it's like, we talked about Trey Lance a little bit earlier, all the picks that the Niners gave up to get him. I mean, Trey Lance now in Dallas, right? Young quarterback. Wouldn't you kind of want to roll him out there just to see what he can do? I mean, it's not like you're trying to save your playoff hopes with Cooper Rush. It's like, why wouldn't you get Trey Lance out there and just be like, dude, go run, read option, like go score, go be an athlete. So it's just it's crazy with these young dudes, and you get it, give them talent. CeeDee Lamb for Lance in Dallas,
Mhm.
and then Jaden Daniels and a good offense there, great running back room, and it just goes to show it's why we have to talk about quarterbacks so much ad nauseum. It's just like it is the most position, arguably, in any sport anywhere in the world.
Coordinators matter too, because if it would have just been about giving people weapons and the ability, Kenny Pickett would have worked. But
Yeah.
Matt Canada sunk the ship there for 3 years because he was an incompetent person at his job. I would have done a better job at that. So it mattered to me. Before you think about weapons, you can have an okay offense, bring in a really good quarterback, have a really good coordinator, and have a lot more success than if you built a bunch of weapons and brought in a guy who didn't know what to do with it. So
Yeah.
that Matt Canada taught me a lesson that was painful to learn, but I will not forget.
Yeah, that was a great way to end this segment. But yeah, I definitely would say on the NFC West, I think it definitely will come down to the Cardinals. I think for them, like they also have a young experience that's pretty good at coming on. If they could just stay healthy on offense, they could do some damage. But for now, the Cardinals have a pretty good lead. But yeah, that'll do it for Total Apex Sports. Zach, you can start us off and plug your socials.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my social is it's right below my name at the end there, Franciscus Zach. I'm also on the Steelers Sanctuary podcast. Literally jumping from here into the prep for that because it's Thursday night football for the Steelers, so we have no turnaround between. But yes, Steelers Sanctuary is the one I do as well.
Yep, Lawson.
Just check me out on Twitter at Lawson_1226, and be sure to check out Total Apex Bets. We went 3-1 in our slips last week. The only one messing up being the Chiefs, but you can't really
Yeah, Brandon.
30B Ellis on Twitter, Ellis Highlight Reel on TikTok. I'm gonna get that going soonish. Get that back going. With the recent news of the what we've been dealing with it here. Also, high school basketball is coming back soon, so I'm looking forward to that. Trying to think what else. Oh yeah, and then my quarterback picks this year have been solid. I feel like been really good with my pieces so far with the quarterback DFSs. So just keep up with that. I'm working on this week's right now before the podcast. I got it started. It's been a busy day for me, so I'm going to try to get that finished tonight.
Yeah, Cody.
Yeah, my Twitter's on screen right there, Cody from MT. And my wife and I, we run some social media pages, and we travel the country and make some content. You can follow us basically on any platform at Gypsy Hustle. That's Gypsy with a Z. Come check it out if you want to laugh and get some travel tips and tricks and bars and restaurants across the country and culture up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that will do it. We're going to be back on Thursday to cover Week 12 and the Thursday night game and a little bit of fantasy football. So, yeah, stay tuned for that.